This is freaking nuts. I just saw on CNN, they had approval numbers on this government shutdown. And the numbers for Republicans have actually gone up since the shutdown. Now, I don't know how accurate this is. I don't know. Because I've also seen polls that show that Americans blame Republicans more than Democrats for the shutdown. So I don't know exactly what's going on there. So take that with a grain of salt. But look, I have always thought that this shutdown strategy was fucking stupid. Politically, just really stupid. To make this all about Obamacare subsidies, because that's all it's about. It's about Democrats are demanding that the Affordable Care Act subsidies be restored. And that if Republicans agree to that, then they'll vote to reopen the government. Now, we must always say also, just to point out the fact that Republicans can reopen the government without a single Democratic vote. All they got to do is set aside the filibuster rule, which they have done many, many times on many other issues. And if they just did that here, they could reopen the government without any Democratic support. But they don't want to reopen the government. See, that's the thing. Democrats entered this political showdown with a party, and specifically a president, who has no incentive to reopen the government. He doesn't want to reopen the government. So you're trying to force his hand to do something that he doesn't want to do anyway. So I don't know how you expect to win this, right? He wants the government shut down because he's able to do all these things. You know, Russ voting them, they're firing people, they're slashing things in the federal government, they're doing all these things. You know, they're using the shutdown as an excuse to do all these things. And importantly, this is part of the strategy for covering up the Epstein files. As long as the government is shut down, it gives Grinder Mike Johnson in the House the excuse to keep the House out of session, and therefore not swear in Congresswoman-elect Grijalva so that she can't be the 218th vote on a discharge petition to force a vote on releasing the Epstein files. So all the incentives, putting aside the issue that they're fighting over, all the incentives are for Donald Trump to keep the government closed. So I don't know how you force him to open the government when he doesn't want to open the government anyway, regardless of what you're demanding in terms of Obamacare subsidies. But even beyond that, imagine if those CNN numbers are right and Republicans are actually gaining support in the midst of this shutdown battle. Well, it just shows you how stupid the Democrat strategy is here. Here you are fighting ostensibly to help the American people from many of them losing their health insurance or having to pay, you know, much, much more for their health insurance. And are you getting any credit for it? No. Apparently, you're only helping Republicans. So it's if this, again, grain of salt, if this polling is true, it's not helping. You're helping your opponents. And then on top of that, this is where it was always the dumbest strategy for me, again, politically, just putting aside the issue for a minute, just politically. What you were demanding essentially is, because even if Democrats win, what will they have won? They will have saved the American people from experiencing the consequences of voting for Trump and Republicans. That is not a good political strategy. With the midterm elections a year from now, what you want to do is demonstrate to the American people what a fucking disaster it was to vote for Donald Trump and Republicans. And important in that is making sure they experience the consequences of what they fucking voted for. So if you save them from feeling the effects of voting for Trump and Republicans, all you're going to do is make them less angry at Republicans than they otherwise would have been, and hurting your chances in the midterm elections. And that's what it's all about here. And I know people say, well, this is more important than politics and elections. You know, people are losing their health insurance, or people having to spend way more, people can't afford it, which I totally understand. But here's the thing. We are in the fight for our lives here against a fascist takeover of this republic. And unless we win in the midterms and beyond, you're going to lose all that stuff anyway. I mean, geez, losing your health insurance, that's the least of your fucking worries. So I get it, but there's a much bigger issue here. We have to beat back this MAGA fascism. And that means we have to pull out all the stops to win politically. And it seems pretty stupid politically to me to make your fight about the government, you know, the government shutdown, to be, we demand to be able to spare the American people from feeling the consequences of voting for Donald Trump and Republicans. That has got to be the dumbest fucking political strategy I think I've ever heard of. Really, really stupid. Anyway, that's it.